Hi, and welcome to your morning espresso business coaching session with Richard Turner, the Essential Entrepreneur. We'll take you through a series of short lessons on how to scale your business while you enjoy your morning coffee. Today we're talking about creating a startup business plan and the steps that actually determine whether your idea succeeds or fails. There are 5 core areas you need to get right: your revenue and profit model, how you're going to achieve it, understanding your costs, your cash flow model, and testing your business in the real world. These steps aren't just theory, they force you to think clearly about how your business will actually work. They give you a plan to execute, and just as importantly, they give investors confidence if you need to raise capital. Done properly, this process dramatically increases your chances of success. To quote from my book, The Essential Entrepreneur, starting and running a business can be the most rewarding but complex and demanding part of your life. It can give you the independence, the lifestyle, and the financial success you want, but if it goes wrong, it can quickly put everything at risk. That's why this stage matters. You want to get this right. In the last lesson on testing a new business idea, we covered market validation, making sure there's real demand for what you're building. Now, if you're serious about moving forward, this is where you bring in support. Find an accountant who understands startups, and ideally a mentor who can challenge your thinking. A practical place to start is simple. Define the revenue and profit you want to achieve in your first 3 years, then work backwards. How many units do you need to sell to get there? To do that properly, you need a clear understanding of your costs. That means talking to suppliers or manufacturers if it's a product, or mapping out staffing, equipment, and delivery if it's a service. This is where an accountant becomes valuable. They'll help you turn your thinking into a structured profit and loss statement. With my last business, Zen Energy, I spent hours working through different scenarios to understand exactly what it would take to become profitable. If you don't have a basic understanding of accounting, fix that early. Learn how to read a profit and loss statement, a balance sheet, and a cash flow statement. These aren't optional skills, they're essential, especially in the early volatile stages of a startup. Once you understand your sales and margins, you can estimate profit. That leads to an important concept: return on investment. Your return needs to be significantly higher than what you'd earn leaving your money in the bank, because running a business carries risk. The return has to justify the effort, the stress, and the uncertainty. Now here comes the harder question. How are you actually going to sell that volume? And what will it cost beyond the product itself? You need to factor in everything: rent, marketing to generate leads, sales costs to convert them, systems, equipment, the utility expenses like electricity and gas, etc., and general expenses. Even the small things add up. At this point, you could be building a detailed, credible business plan, one that explains how you'll generate revenue and profit, and importantly, how you'll use any invested capital to produce a return. Investors don't put money into businesses for fun. They expect performance and a significant return on their money invested over time. Next is your cash flow model, and this is where many businesses fail. So ask the question: are you paid before you incur costs? That's cash flow positive. That's the ideal scenario for growth. Are you paid as costs are incurred? That's cash flow neutral. Or are you paid after you've delivered your product or service? That's cash flow negative, and that's the most common model. In a cash flow negative business, you're funding every sale up front. The faster you grow, the more cash you need. You can be profitable on paper and still run out of money, and I've seen it happen many times. This isn't about losing money, it's about timing. Your cash is actually tied up in what customers owe you, so it hasn't gone missing, you haven't lost it, it's just tied up in money being owed to you, so you've got to fund it. So without proper planning, that gap can kill a business. Understanding this is critical when planning funding. Whether from a bank or an investor, you need to clearly demonstrate that you understand how your business operates, what it requires, and how much capital is needed to sustain and grow it. For example, if you're importing products, you may have to pay up front before goods even leave the overseas port. Then you wait for shipping, warehousing, sales, and then finally you get your money back or money in through payment. All of that needs to be built into your model. We'll cover strategies later, like negotiating better terms with suppliers, but for now, awareness is key. Once your plan starts to come together, the next step is real-world validation. Find a partner or customer willing to run a pilot. Test your product or service in a live environment. Before doing that, consider protecting your idea with a non-disclosure agreement, or an NDA as they're commonly known. It's a simple, relatively low-cost step that provides some protection, though it's more of a deterrent than a guarantee. As you progress, you might also look at trademarks or patents to strengthen your position, but we'll cover that in future lessons. At this point, you should have a clear understanding of what goes into a startup business plan, and more importantly, how to test your idea before committing fully. Because the goal isn't just to launch, it's to launch with clarity, confidence, and the highest possible chance of success. Thanks for joining me today. Take that lesson that we've talked about and see how you can apply it straight away. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye for now.